Celtics. Welcome to the floor at Chase Center. I'm Matt Weiner. Shaquille O'Neal, just about 90 minutes away from summer vacation. That's Steve Smith, Grant Hill, right over there. Good to have you with us. This game got away from the Celtics in the third quarter. Golden State did what they do in the third quarter over and over again. An extended 22-2 run spanning the third and fourth. Grant, why were the Warriors 31 points better than game one?
Well, first of all, you're right. They've had great third quarters throughout the regular season, the ability to make adjustments at halftime. But this was a special third quarter, similar to the fourth quarter in game one for Boston. A couple things happened. First of all, defensively, we talked in pregame about being disruptive and getting in their space and making Boston uncomfortable. Only 14 points they gave up. And, of course, they got hot. 7 3-pointers there from the three-point line. They found their rhythm on the offensive end, but the smothering defense really was the difference. And that third quarter knocked them out. Boston didn't have enough to come back in the fourth like they did in game one.
Yeah, amazingly, Shaq, the three-point numbers are identical for the two teams at the end of the game. It was really what Boston could not do inside the arc that separated the two teams.
Listen, both teams play well. I think the biggest adjustment that Golden State said, okay, White, you won't get 20 tonight. Okay, Horford, you won't hit 6 threes tonight. And, you know, they slowed him down. Tatum did his thing. He came back and had a great game. Brown got slowed down a little bit. But listen, we know that Golden State was going to respond like this. We now have a series. You know, the refs let them play tonight. There was a lot of scratching, a lot of fouling, a lot of talking. You know, a lot of people felt Draymond should have been thrown out in the second quarter.
Yep.
The refs let them play, but we knew that Golden State would respond like this. But I said, if you let the Celtics shoot over 50% from three, they're a tough team to beat. You know, they only shot 40.5%. And then again, game one, Al Horford 26. Game two, 2. White 21-12. Smart 18-2. So, you know, if you slow those others down and, you know, some of the Boston stars down, you will have these results. And again, Golden State's probably one of the only two teams that have a powerful 1-2 punch, but they both don't have to play dynamic for them to win because you know they have other weapons.
You know, Smitty, it wasn't just the point totals of those three players. It was the shot distribution for Boston. Al Horford didn't even take a shot in the first half. What was Golden State doing to keep them from getting involved?
Well, I think they played more man-to-man. They stayed at home. I think also for the Boston Celtics, they turned the basketball over for 33 points.
Yep.
And I thought that was the difference. And I think also if you watch the Golden State offense, they got into the paint. There was a plus 16 in the paint versus they were a minus 8 last game. So I thought those two stats were the difference in this ball game.
Yeah, the 33 points off turnovers given up by Boston is the most they've allowed in the postseason so far on those turnovers. You know, Golden State did this with Jordan Poole. You know, he went on a little burst there. Other than that, just 6 of 14, and Klay Thompson is having a miserable finals in terms of shooting so far. In some ways, Golden State's got to feel pretty good about being 1-1 right now with Klay going 4 of 19 tonight.
Well, first of all, you know Klay is too good a shooter. He'll find his rhythm at some point during this series. And if you're Golden State, you hope that's in Boston in games 3 and 4. But, you know, it was really just – it wasn't a lot of X's and O's. I thought they stayed home with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, as Smitty talked about. But a lot of it was just the effort. They were more tenacious. They were more disruptive. They played harder. They played desperate. They played like a team that understood if they go down 2-0 here, then, you know, they're in trouble. So they came out, played with the force that Steve Kerr, that we all talked about before the game, and had the results and the success. But it really getting it done with the defense. The defense was stellar and keeping everybody else at bay. Tatum got going, but that was pretty much it for Boston. Tatum had a pretty strong first half. I think he had 21 there in the first half. But it was just a good team effort defensively. And that's Warriors basketball. We get seduced by their offense, their scoring, their three-point shooting, but they've won championships because they can defend, and they showed that tonight.
And Jaylen Brown got hot early in this game, had 15 at the half, and a good chunk of that was in the first quarter when he scored 13. And it was almost not heard from at that point.
You know, all great players. I've seen Grant do it. I've seen Smitty do it. When we have one bad game, we try to come back like gangbusters second game. We knew he was going to have this type of performance, but listen, they played defense on him. You know, Gary Payton Jr., smaller defender, he played. And then, listen, players like Tatum and Brown, you're not going to stop them, but your definition of stopping them is keeping them at their average or below their average. You don't want a guy like Jason Tatum who's averaging, 24, 25, average 30, average 40. So, tonight, he had 28. So, that's 4 points over his average. But they did a great job. Golden State won by 20. So, listen, if he's going to score 28 and we're going to slow the others down and, Brown's going to have 17, not even reach the 20 mark, and we win the game, we'll take that.
It's game time at the finals presented by YouTube TV. We'll hear from the head coaches. We'll hear from the stars of this game. Try to make sense of what we've seen so far and look ahead to Game 3 coming up in Boston. You see the difference between what Boston did offensively in Game 1 and Game 2. They had that blitz, obviously, in the fourth quarter and took over. 88 points tonight compared to 120 in Game 1. The field goal percentage, again, largely what was happening inside the arc, Smitty. It was just nothing doing in there for the Boston offense.
You're totally right. I mean, Matt, they shot 50% the last game, and you look at this game tonight, just 37%. But I also thought, SHAQ, they let Draymond kind of get in their head. Yes. Everybody was barking at Draymond, and I think that's what took him a little bit out of rhythm. I thought Draymond came out with a perfect game plan. I'm just going to make this ugly. I'm going to foul. I'm going to throw myself around, and maybe he could have told the line of getting a second technical. But I think he definitely made this game uncomfortable for the Boston Celtics. They play right into his hands.
And believe it or not, Matt, once you start complaining to the refs and you start doing all that, it takes a little bit of focus away. Because, first, couple minutes when they got to the lead, they were playing strong defense. They were focused. They were really playing tough. Once they start doing this and complaining to the refs, I thought, it took a little bit away.
Yeah, Boston led by as many as 9 in the first half, but Draymond really did get under their skin, whether it was Grant Williams or who did we just see? Somebody else?
Jaylen Brown,
Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart.
Grant Williams.
I mean, that's part of his job description as a great defensive player, I guess, but just also as an agitator, and mission accomplished for him tonight.
Well, he agitated a lot, and that's, we talked. He needed to have an impact on this game. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, but it was the other stuff. It was the defense, it was the energy, it was the passion, the emotion that he played with, and the ability. I'm going way back, but I you think back in the 90s, and Dennis Rodman in Chicago sometimes would get under people's skin,
yep.
And so that right there becomes a distraction. You spend more time focusing on what Draymond Green is doing, how he's acting, the antics. It takes you off of your game. That's experience. That's the champion right there, and it certainly served them well in this game.
No doubt there will be a robust, lusty greeting for Draymond Green in Boston when he gets there. All right, let's get inside Ime Udoka, whose team split here in San Francisco, headed back home for Game 3, tied up at 1.
Rohan Nadkarni, Sports Illustrated. I think in Game 1, Horford, Smart, and Derek, I think, shot over 23s combined. In this game, I think it was less than 10. I was just wondering, did you feel like that was a result of them doing something defensively, your offense not executing the way it was? I mean, I think overall the three-point attempts were down. What do you think the reason for that difference was?
I think we got as much penetration to the paint. They switched a few more things, and then turned the ball over. Didn't give ourselves a chance with a lot of those turnovers.
First row in the middle.
Well, Manning, CLNS Media, felt like Draymond playing more on the ball had an impact on you guys in a few circumstances where you're kind of getting into guys. I know you picked up a technical at one point off one of those plays. What do you just think his impact was on how you guys were playing offensively and just composure-wise out there?
That's one player that, he can only do or guard one person at a time. So we had 11 turnovers for 18 points in the first half. And they had 9 steals, so playing in the crowd way too much. I mean, he's going to switch matchups a lot of times and try to impact the ball defensively especially, but we weren't strong with the ball overall, so it wasn't just him. It was, of course, he's going to come out and try to set the tone, but I think we weren't strong with the ball a lot, searching for fouls instead of going up and making plays, especially with their lack of rim protection. So for us, that was a little disappointing to give up 33 points off of 19 turnovers, and that's kind of been a constant theme in the playoffs. When that happens, we're in trouble.
We'll go to the middle, Gary Washburn.
Ime, you guys didn't play great in the first half, but down 2. How disappointing is it that one of the same third quarter issues happened, and 3, you guys were so careless with the ball. It just seemed like you guys were doing too much, and they took full advantage. I mean, how can you guys play such a drastically different game than you did in game 1?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's been an ongoing theme in the playoffs so far at times. We turn over the ball, take teams out of scoring against us in the half court, gift them some baskets. But it was more of the same in that third quarter, to your point. Like I said, we had 11 for 18 points in the first half and then gave up 5 or 6 more in that quarter and kind of blew it open. And that hampered our offense as well. So for us, it was more, that's a disappointing quarter, of course, but the first half was just as disappointing, only being down 2 and not playing good basketball at all, frankly. And so had our opportunities, came out, jumped out up 9 early, and then turnovers started happening, let them back in the game, and just offense wasn't as crisp with the ball movement and passing. Like I said, 11 of our turnovers were live ball turnovers, 9 of them out of steals.